Welcome to the Sherri Johnson Show, the podcast for real estate agents who are ready to stop chasing their next deal and start building a business that provides predictable and consistent monthly income to even double or even triple your income and sales production in less than a year. I'm Sherri Johnson, international real estate coach, speaker, consultant, and the creator of the exclusive Goldmine Pipeline strategy that's helped thousands of agents add over 6 figures to even 7 figures to their bottom line. If you're ready to generate more leads, crush your income goals, and finally play the long game, you're in the right place. Let's dig in. Hey there, it's Sherri Johnson of the Sherri Johnson Show, and I am really excited about today's episode. I am with someone I have known for years. I have the honor and privilege of having Mike Incorvaia Sr. from the Incorvaia Team from EXP in Cleveland, Ohio. And we are going to talk about a lot of topics today. You're going to love this episode. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Sherri. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here today. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be on here with my former nemesis.
Oh, the former nemesis.
Yeah.
Love that.
You were my competition.
Why you said that?
You were my competition back in the day.
You know, we were competitors. And that is a good chapter. You know, I want to start by saying when I was an agent working on the far east side of Solon, Ohio, I would venture over to like North Royalton or Strasburg, like your area where Sylvia, your wife who's been doing this forever. And I would show all of your listings. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, Sylvia Curvaya, Sylvia. And I've watched your team grow over the years. That was 29 years ago that I started. And over these last 29, and she's been doing this longer than that, but your family, your son, Mike Jr., your wife, Sylvia, have built one of the largest teams actually in America, largest teams definitely in Ohio. And do me a favor before we talk about our nemesis past, because we're going to tell the people listening just the size and scope. You've got just shy of 50 people on your team. What's your average sale price? How many units are you guys selling and transactions? And what's that total volume look like?
So our average sale price, we're about 300 on buyers and probably 350 on sellers. We'll do probably going to hit 400 this year. Volume will end up being, we're at 128 million right now, so probably 140, 145. We're at 47 agents. Our goal in the next 2 years is to get to 100. The more agents you have, the better chance you have for success. In the many, you find the few.
Well, it's been fun to watch. And now I get to, when I saw you last fall and you said, what are you doing here?
Oh my God. I couldn't believe you came walking through that door, that you're the only person who came through that door. And it was like, what the heck? Sherri Johnson, what are you doing here?
I know. And you did say that. And I clearly wasn't there to be a keynote speaker or anything. I was there for the party. Our paths have now crossed in such a great way. So for years, you have built this team and those numbers are amazing. And people listening are saying, I'm trying to build a team. I'm trying to get out of production and have more of the production come from my actual team. What were some of the key moves that you can look back over the years and say, this is what we did, Sherri, and it changed the trajectory of our team? Like,
let me go back to the complete beginning. I was an insurance agent for 35 years. I got my real estate license in 2003. Sylvia was licensed in 95. So in 03, I said, let me go get my license. I will help you run a buyer, hold an open house, because she was getting to the point where nobody would help her in her office because she was in a traditional office and everybody thought they competed with each other. So, and I always I did her marketing and paid the bills and ran the business. And then when I got my license, I came aboard just to help her continue to grow the business. And we were just building her brand. And then in 2006, we were invited to look at the KW opportunity here in Strongsville, Keller Williams, when they opened a when they open a market center, they offer top agents ownership. So we got to be owners in the Strongsville office. And what happened was the day we left her former company, the manager kept all of her listings. So I was very angry. So I started going to open houses every Sunday and telling people about this great new business model that was out there that was pretty new to our area. As you remember, you were with that company that a lot of our agents were coming to a new business model. So I was then invited to be the operating partner of the Westlake Keller Williams office.
That's
I had
right.
never sold a house. To this day, I've never written a contract. I've listed properties, but I've never written a contract. But I've been licensed for 22 years now. And so I got to be the operating partner of the Westlake office, which wasn't doing that great at the time. I think we had about 45 agents. And I took over in January of 2008, and we grew it to 250.
Yeah.
And I sold that market center in 2015.
Okay.
Well, in 2014, I became the operating partner of Strongsville. So I was OP of both offices at one time. And then I ended up selling that one in 2018. But before I sold it, I asked if I could merge those two offices together because I thought, it would be smart to have one team leader and an assistant and try to, reduce the expenses to make it more profitable. And
Right.
the regional owner told me, no, you can't do that. And then I got an answer from Gary Keller a couple weeks later after I sold that says, yeah, you could have did that. But nevertheless, I'm glad that I ended up selling. So then 4 or 5 years later, well, what happened is my former business partner in the Strongsville office, David Best, became the first broker in Ohio for EXP.
That's right.
And so David and a few of the agents left to go to EXP, and they were all so excited about it. And of course, I was listening to people at KW Corporate saying how, EXP is never going to make it and this and that. And of course, I just was comfortable like we all get and didn't want to make any changes. But I got to the point where I could not sleep at night thinking, am I passing up another opportunity for Mike Jr. and some of the young people on our team? Because EXP model is just KW taken to the next level. I mean, all of the expenses of a franchise and a region and everything have been eliminated, and you know, um, the revenue now goes to the agents. I mean, company's running on 10% basically, company dollar. Half of the revenue goes to build the pool for revenue share, and the other half goes to run the company. And they're only able to do that because they don't have bricks and mortar as a company. But we as our team, we have a physical location. We own our own office. And I
Yeah.
think that you have to have a physical location today because agents still want to come and be involved in something, but you've got to have value to bring them in. So every Monday and every Wednesday, we got something going on here. On Mondays, we have this thing called Money Making Mondays where the agents come in and figure out how to do marketing and things like that to help them move their business forward. And then on Wednesday, we have group coaching. And we're getting, I think yesterday we had 25 people here. And,
Nice.
most of the bigger companies with 200 or 300 agents don't even have 25 people coming to their weekly team meetings anymore. But they're coming in, they're getting value and, a little bit of accountability that we do, some goal setting. How'd you do this week? What were you going to do? What did you do? And it's been working really well. I have a lady on our team by the name of Laura Justice. It made her our team leader. Laura was my broker when we owned the Strongsville KW office,
Hmm.
and she was a MAPS coach at Keller Williams for years. She was a coach of productivity coaches, so she's been the perfect fit for our team. It takes her, me, Mike Jr., and Sylvia all to run this monster
Yeah.
because the agents are always, questions and things going on, and they're calling all the time. So um, it takes all of us to run it, but it's working very well.
It is. It is. And so you mentioned the difference. You hinted at a little bit of the difference of, or can you elaborate on sort of the difference between a profit share model at a former company versus the EXP share model?
Well, I could tell you that I had over 600 people in our profit share tree at KW. And profit sharing obviously comes after profit, and revenue share comes before expenses. And the only way that EXP can do it is because they've eliminated all the expenses of owning a region and owning a market center and having all the local leadership and the bricks and mortar. But anyway, our profit share, which we still receive because it's guaranteed for life. Now, I don't know how many people are still in that tree. I'm sure it's less than it was when we left.
Mm-hmm.
I have about 60 people in our rev share pool, and the rev share and the profit share are almost equal. There's months when rev share has been more, there's months when profit share has been more, but we're just basically getting started. I mean, it takes about $1 million a year or more to run these market centers. That's $1 million in expenses that has to be paid before anything is shared with the agents. But this business model, I mean, when I'm talking to an agent that's 35 or 40 years old who's selling 35, 40 units a year, I'm telling them, number one, you would be an icon agent with EXP, which means you're going to get your cap back in stock every year. At $16,000, you amortize that over 20 years, even at a very low rate of return. You're going to be sitting on $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in a Morgan Stanley account that would have otherwise went to your broker in the past. So if you're not building, and Sherri, you and I have been in this long enough to know how much it's been tilted towards the agent. I mean, back in the day, I remember, and I'm sure you do too, when the agents weren't even allowed to put their cell phone number on their sign.
All right, hold on. I have to stop you right there. So in 1996, when I got licensed, and I didn't realize I was just a year after Sylvia, when I got licensed and I was working for that great company, Smythe Kramer Company. It was
Yep.
just amazing. And I put my listings in, I was paying for advertising, and I put my sign up, and I put my phone. I was one of the first people in our company to put my sign writer up with my phone number and not the office. And oh, did that cause a problem? And I was like, what? I don't understand this. And, obviously later, 10 years later, I became a manager, and I really quickly understood that the phone calls were coming to the office, obviously, so that the person on floor duty, who was probably at a 50-50 split back then, would pick that sign call up, and they'd sell the house, and
Yep.
the house would make more money, which, obviously I became the queen of doing that. I'm never going to say that I didn't do that. I was the queen of brokerage top line revenue. Because I was literally one of the first people. Robert Goldman and I put our signs up. We had our phone numbers on them, and oh, did we cause it was bad. Like, everybody was freaking out, and I'm like, I paid for the ad. Why wouldn't I do it? So when you talk about personal marketing, where the shift went from the legacy brands, all of them, literally, whether they're independent or franchise, the shift did go from to the agent, and that personal marketing was off and running. And I think agents began to increase their personal referrals. I think they began to spend more money on ads and leads. And of course, they wanted their name on the sign with their phone number. So that's a hallmark. That's like I just remember causing the problem. I remember listen to this. We put an internet line in a router, a modem, into for high speed internet. That's how old I am. And I had to pay for it. And I got so ridiculous.
I was the one who was deciding what commission program Sylvia would go on, because at her former company, they had 1 million of them. You can go on 100%, pay a monthly fee or whatever. She went on a plan that was pretty good, but it also paid for all of her ads in the local newspaper, the Plain Dealer, every Sunday.
Yep.
All of a sudden now that company decides they're not going to advertise in the paper anymore, which you were at the other company, which helped you guys tremendously. So me and Sylvia and top producer out of North Royalton and Barbara Wilson all met at Barbara Wilson's office with the president of that company And we all said, what's going on? Well, we're going to put the money in the internet. And I go, okay, you're going to put the money. What does that mean? You're throwing the money in the internet. And we're stuck with the compensation plan that we went on based, and that was
You are
another,
right.
yeah, that's,
Probably the beginning of the end. I know when you were talking about the evolution of even, you know, you think about independence, then we had the 100% brand, obviously Remax came. After that, KW shows up with something that really threat to everybody, a threat to um Remax even, who had thought they had the best mousetrap. And then you look at, I was at a legacy brand maintaining value in coaching agents and giving high value and really the pressure of the commissions has really been a
oh,
problem for our whole industry. So tell us, I believe that the you're talking about icon. I don't know if anyone listening to this, if they're not at EXP, understand what iconing is, and that is a big deal at EXP. An icon agent has achieved the status of that award, and it is EXP giving them the $16,000 in cap back to them that they paid in the form of a stock.
award.
So, like, talk a little bit about that. I see it on everyone. They say I'm a six-time
Yeah.
icon. I'm a
So,
five
so an
icon.
agent, first an agent has to cap. So they're on an 80-20 split. When the 20% equals the cap, then now they've capped. And then once they've capped, they have to do another 20 transactions in that anniversary period at a $250 transaction fee. So they've really paid in 21,000. And
Okay.
there they get back 8,000 of their cap immediately, and they have 12 months to earn the other 8,000. And they can do it a couple of ways. One is a cultural commitment. Maybe they have to get on a Zoom call with some of the top producers within the company ecosystem. They get 2,000. Like we have a regional rally in Cincinnati. We went there. We got $2,000. Anyway, it's just you think about getting 16,000 a year for the next 20 years. That's 320. Even at a 3 or 4% rate of return, that 320 over 20 years is going to turn into $500,000. Now, that doesn't include the fact that there's other ways to earn stock in the company. And the stock is not the end all be all, whatever, but it's just putting money away that you would have otherwise, you know. And I'm so passionate about this because I was one of the few that was given an opportunity to have ownership in a Keller Williams office, but I had to buy it. Fortunately, when I bought it, it was at the beginning and it cost a small amount compared to what I was able to sell it to because it was a startup office versus one that was established with several hundred agents when I sold it.
Okay.
But so we were able to build our wealth and our little fortune off of the ownership of the Keller Williams office. But what was happening, Sherri, is agents would come to me and they would say, now you got an agent been in the business 5 years and they're starting to do really good. How do I get ownership? And I would just say, well, there really isn't any available because my partners over here who've been doing this for 20 years, they were the ones who bought in. And even though they may not be what they used to be, they're not giving it up. So
Yeah.
this opportunity of EXP came along. And the thing is every company being created today is a cloud brokerage company. Go in Chat GPT and ask what percent of agents will work in a cloud brokerage within the next 3 to 4 years. It's half. 50% of the agents are going to be in a cloud brokerage by 2030. It's just that's the only model growing.
Yeah, and everyone went cloud during COVID anyway. So I mean,
But again, we bring our agents in, and I think a good agent could be successful anywhere. Your own company, my own company, if they're getting value and they're doing what they're supposed to, they could be successful anywhere. It's the things above and beyond the production that concern me. I want to make sure agents have a financial future that they could sit back on. I'm at the retirement age now if I wanted to, where I could sit back and don't have to worry about anything financially. I still love what I do, and that's why I'm here every day. But because you and I both know realtors that did this for years and years and years, and next thing you know, we don't see them anymore, and they're done.
and no one is putting away a 401k
Mm.
on transactions they're selling. It's just not. It's not a thing. And the stock piece of this, you're going to sell houses wherever you are. You at least can build wealth while doing that. And then so many different revenue shares or revenue streams, the
People say
pillars.
to me, people make fun of revenue share. I'll say, well, if revenue share didn't work, Michael Jordan wouldn't be a billionaire today. He was the first one to get revenue share in Nike. I mean, and that's, extreme example, but it's similar.
I think people, if you look at linear income, work trade time for money, and then you look at leverage, and it's still with leverage, you have to still show up or
Yeah.
it doesn't happen. And with passive income, it's really worth reading Brian Carruthers' books. I think when people realize passive income is do it once and partner and get paid for life, it's not a bad thing. It's actually, I just heard someone recently say we at EXP we recruit, we don't pay managers to recruit. And I've trained thousands of managers who it didn't matter what I did, only a 1/3 of them were good at recruiting and attracting agents. And every company has to recruit or they will not exist.
Right.
Just it doesn't it doesn't it is not gonna there will be no future company. One of the things that I love about when I hear agents talk at EXP about is this collaboration versus competition. And when you were talking about the top agents giving back, and I know there are 80 hours of training, masterminds, coaching, literally masterminds on every single topic anyone could go into in EXP University. But can you elaborate on what you like and have you seen what you've seen in the last few years you've been at
I,
EXP with
I,
collaboration?
yeah, I haven't done a whole lot within the enterprise system that we have, but I've always been somebody who's reached out to people. My favorite person, obviously, at EXP is Tina Call.
Love her.
We've had her here in Cleveland. I run a mastermind every other month for agents with all different companies. I've had I've had Tina on a Zoom. I had Leo on a Zoom. Tina's been there a couple of times. I mean, she is just one of the most knowledgeable. I mean, when you meet Tina Call in person, you feel like you've known her forever. She's just that
Correct.
person. She's
I would
really,
agree.
really, really, really great.
She
And
was on my podcast, actually.
yes, I remember that. In fact, that's why I think
She's a
you and I talked because
phenomenal
I
human being.
commented about it. I love Tina. I think she's great. We're going to have her back here hopefully in April or May to do a big event here. I had Kendall Bonner on a Zoom. And then I also had a couple top producing female agents from KW with Tina on one of the Zooms. Young lady out of Charlotte and one out of Sarasota that are doing really, really well. So I've always liked to just reach out to people and find out what they're doing, because sometimes you think, our problem here in Cleveland is our sale price. If I had the sale price that they have in some other areas doing 400 units a year, we'd be in a whole lot different situation. But it is what it is.
It's definitely it is our market.
Creep.
Um, yes. What advice? So my original question, and people listening are trying to build a team. They're looking at, do I keep going the team route and be profitable? It's a hard one for some people.
You know
What
what?
do they need to do to have that like pivotal moment where the flywheel is going and the team is producing and they can build a big team like you have done with
It's taken
just
us a long time to get as big as we have, and our margins are a lot different than other teams. I pay a really good split because I just think that agents, they're always looking at splits. So you've got to offer some really great value, and you have to have a good, successful business before you can even start thinking about a team because that's what requires the leverage, and then that's where you start building it from. It's gotten to the point now where I think it's either you have a really big team or a really small one where everything is, controlled by you. And we've gone the big route and we're more of a brokerage than a team, but,
that's right.
a half of the team is really engaged in what we're doing. The other half is just out there kind of doing their own thing. And that's fine, as long as they don't do anything to get us in trouble legally, which none of them do. It's been It's been really good, but I really think that you got to have a big team today in order to, maintain your profit margin.
For people out there that are not at EXP with the team, what are the 3 best reasons for them to consider looking at the EXP model, do you think?
I think that, first of all, if you have a big team and you're a mega team, the caps are very, very good. We have a mega team. You have to do so much. You have to have a minimum of 11 people and do $40 million minimum, and your team caps are only 4,000 for your team members. But the other reasons is the collaboration that you can, get whatever group you join in. There's people there that are always willing to share, and we had some of this at KW. The thing about Keller Williams is it was hard to get any information, and you never got really any recognition on the big stage there unless you were in Matt's coaching.
Okay.
It's a little different over here, but I think people should be coming here for the revenue share on top of the stock opportunity, because I remember joining KW when we had about 100 and maybe 100 agents in Cleveland. There's over 2,000 now, and eventually EXP is going to be the same way. You know it better than anybody, Sherri. You've seen it all too.
Oh my gosh. There's a massive movement for sure.
Yeah.
Individual agents right now that are looking at change or looking at, the math matters. Can you explain, there's a little bit of a confusion on.
Yeah, you have a saying, and I agree with you about the forever split. Most companies that don't have caps, even if you're on a 90-10, if you're doing 10, 15, 20 million, that 10% can be pretty substantial. I'll never forget when we joined KW back in 06, Sylvia was on a 78% split, which back then it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But that 22% equated to 90 grand. And all I did was, being the outsider at the time, just running my insurance business, I said, 90 over there, 21 over here, I could use $69,000 to do additional marketing to help grow the business. I think agents don't want to move because they think it's going to disrupt their business. So when we bring agents over, we do everything in our power to make their transition as smooth as possible. Because it can be uncomfortable. When we came to EXP as a big team, they had a concierge service that, it was easy.
Right, right.
Really
Actually, I know Frank Panuto, and he speaks so highly of you. Frank and his entire team at EXP.
Yep.
It's the math is shocking, and I loved the company I sold at. I loved the company that bought the company I worked at. I remember thinking I'm paying over 6 figures, and I questioned it. I also had the belief system that it was a mutually beneficial partnership at the time, and I don't regret it. It is what it is. The evolution of Gene Frederick talks about this all the time. The evolution of the brokerage model.
Yep.
EXP becoming the category disruptor. There can't be another company like this. It's just never going to happen. And I believe that if you're sitting there looking at the dollars, I just met with someone the other day who said, I've never done the math. I did not know I was giving whatever it was, $85,000. And she said, she literally was, and then she added the franchise fee.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny because every agent I talk to that's getting ready to take their test, the first thing they say is, how many math questions are going to be on there? So, math has always been an issue for realtors for most of them. And obviously what you just said proves it. They don't.
Well, I think they only focus on what they're getting. Everyone says, but I'm at 80%. I'm at 85%, Sherri. And I'm like,
listen, if they were paying 100 grand a year and getting 100 grand of value, fine. But most of them aren't anymore. Let's face it, if you're on my team and you're paying us $50,000, you're getting $50,000 worth of value.
That's right.
We've got a transaction coordinator. We got a listing specialist. We got a marketing person. Back in the day when you and I first got in the business, the offices used to input our listings and
that's right.
Do whatever and close them out and the escrow. Deals sold and closed back then, though. Every deal today's got a problem, it seems like. Back in the day, do you remember all the stuff that's going on now, Sherri, with transactions?
Oh my gosh. it's some things have not changed and some things are absolutely way different. If you've been through the 3 decades worth like we have, it's kind of like you've seen it all, but then it never fails. New stuff happens and new things come into play. I know that if you're an agent listening to Mike, listening to me, it's worth taking a look at. Every single thing I thought I knew, I was wrong. I did not. I knew how to counter, right? Recruit. I could keep everybody. I mean, you said I was your nemesis. I
Were
literally,
you were tough. You were definitely a tough one for sure. And I mean, you were the most loyal person to your company that I've ever known at that company, and you did a great job. And I mean, people love
think
you out here. And it's
it was a great run, and it was the one of the greatest things in my career history.
well, and I'm sure
So
it helped propel you to where you are today.
absolutely, and I am proud of that. I'm very humbled by it all,
You
but I
should
I
be.
will tell you that after being a national coach for several big brands and seeing the inside of all of those brands, I made the decision. I just had an interview with Leo Pareja at EXPCon, and right in the camera, he said, "We're so excited to have you." And I'm just excited to be here. So I'm glad we get to, when I saw you a year ago and I said, "Why do you think I'm here?"
Yeah,
and hugged, it's so, it's just I've never been this excited. I've been excited at a lot of points in my career,
yeah.
becoming the regional VP. That was one of my pivotal moments, becoming, a national coach, homes.com hiring me, Berkshire Hathaway hiring me. I've had a lot of moments where it's been, like, holy cow, pinch me. The thing I wanted to do since I was 26 years old, I wanted to have a national speaking, coaching, and consulting company. And that has been awesome. This is more exciting than all of that. And I get to be partners with you and
So
your family and your whole team. And it's unbelievable. It's really just the beginning. And you said it earlier, we're just getting started. And I feel the same thing. I think the adoption curve there's going to be a huge run to a couple companies. We're going to be the one, I believe, out in front. You have, what are your plans for, what are your forecasts for the next, year out? What are you thinking in terms of market and the Cleveland market anyway?
I think the market's going to probably improve a little bit. The economy's doing well. It's going to get better after the new tax bill kicks in, I believe. Um, Interest rates are going to come down a little bit. We get slightly under 6%. I think, it's going to make a big difference. But it's not the market that matters. It's what you do that matters.
Yeah, every agent needs to take action, take
Yep.
massive action, you know, download my gold mine pipeline, get busy. The future is yours to take. And I say this every single day of my life. It's like high energy, high results. If you are not taking action and making the most, doesn't matter what's going on, outside noise, what are you doing to make sure your pipeline is full and make sure you have business 3 months from now and 6 months from now? I'm excited. I can't wait to see you in person. Have a wonderful holiday.
Yeah,
Thanks for being on the show. I'm going to have you back again.
sounds good.
That's okay. And best to you and Sylvia and Mike Jr. and your entire team. Love it. We'll see you soon. Okay. Bye.